I think we're live. Yeah, it doesn't do a countdown. Hi,
Nice.
I'm here for Romance Happy Hour with Dylan and Diana Muñoz. Did I say it right?
Yeah, good.
Oh, yeah. Baby Daws.
Hi. Hello.
Dylan, what are you working on?
What am I working on? I am working on my radish story right now. I just turned in the first book in my new series that will come out next August. I turned that in a couple weeks ago, and so now I have a little bit of breathing time. So I am using that time to get caught up on my radish story, which is Betting on the Bartender. It's the second season in the Betting On series, and I'm also working on the third book in the Lovebird Cafe series, and then I have the second book in the series that I just turned in that is due in January. So, and I'm trying to figure out all my kids' new schedules because we have, football and volleyball and soccer all going at once, and so yeah, I kind of don't even know what day it is half the time. Oh, how about you, Dawn? And I'm drinking a generous glass of wine tonight. I didn't make chocolate bliss because I had one the other night and it like kicked my booty and put me to bed. So I'm just making some wine tonight.
I see you're using the wine glass you got me, and I tried to find that one, Partners in Wine, but I think I used it last night, and I think it's in the dishwasher, so I got this one.
I should have grabbed my pink one. See, we need to coordinate our stemware for next time, okay?
But you know what? I think I'm going to give away one of these wine glasses for my release. I have a release coming up on the 16th, and I think for see how sparkly it looks in this video.
It's really pretty. You guys, Dawn makes the most beautiful, cool items. She has a mug that changes colors. Like she has all the words on it, and when you pour hot liquids into it, you can see all the words from her chapter. She's got some cool swag.
I did, and I just did, yeah. And I think I'm going to give away. I think it's going to be cooler than this one though, but it will be my release book.
I like the one with the zipper on it.
Yeah, that zipper was hot, right?
That was pretty cool.
The author that got them for her giveaway, like everybody wanted the wine glasses and it had real lace too, real lace on the back. I'm thinking about doing one with all lace up front in the V.
Nice.
Like for non-readers, but
you're gonna get fancy.
So I am having a release, and I am working on marketing, and I just started a new day job. I don't want to say weapons dealer because it makes me feel like
don't say that.
I am a gun dealer. Once my license comes in, but for right now,
please do not go telling people that you are a weapons, like an arms dealer who moves
Oh
my gosh.
If you want some information about arms dealing, no, I'm just kidding. I'm not a villain. I'm a heroine. So that's what I'm working on. Diana, what are you working on recently?
Well, I just finished my Black Ops Confidential series, and it's 3 books and a novella. The novella I just put out, honestly, like a week or so ago. But the series is about a secret society of female vigilantes that scour the globe righting wrongs against women. So it's, women fighting back against things that are done to them that maybe other people don't help them with. So my first in series is out. My novella is out, and the second in series is coming out September 24th. So, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and I'm working on a new series called the Bad Legacy series, and that will be out next year.
Cool. What is that about?
It's about women with infamous mothers. So it's 4 different women, and they meet because they are on this list, this serial killer's list. And he is just so livid with their mothers that he's taking it out on them. So,
ooh,
yeah.
Sorry, I'm typing Dylann.
Yeah, it's never anything very light and funny, is it? Like, it's just so dark.
All right, Amy, how about you?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Dawn.
Sorry.
Well, Diana, you can be the dark side and I'll be the light side because I write smutty rom-coms for the most part. I'm working on a spin-off from my Harris Brothers, which is a sports romance series about 4 British brothers who all play professional soccer in England, or it's called football over there. And so I've kind of started a spin-off series, and I'm writing kind of book 2 in the spin-off, which is just secondary characters that are around the Harris brothers a lot. And so this one is about a Scottish ginger hero who plays football, and he's tatted and fun, and he's kind of falling for his friend named Freya, who's this pleasantly plump seamstress that's so quirky and fun and has freckles, and just it's a very unexpected pairing between the two of them, but I'm having a lot of fun with it.
Nice.
Yeah. And I'm preparing to go, like, Diana, all of your offices or like areas you're at is so organized, and mine looks like a crime scene because I'm preparing to go to London next week for a book. And then I go right from London to Rome for a book signing the next weekend. So I'll be overseas for like 12 days, basically.
Very cool.
Yeah.
You can't see my room because I keep it dark on purpose. But mine looks like yours.
Yeah.
My craft room.
Yeah, I love it.
A place where I can shut the door and keep everybody else out. So you're in good company.
Good.
Yeah, I already told you guys that I just moved all my junk over there. So,
and I'm in my kitchen, my dining room. This is my coffee bar and my wine bar.
I like it.
Morning and night. So
I swap those sometimes, when I'm feeling squirrely.
All right. So who's going first? Who would like to?
Diana,
Yeah.
go first.
Going first.
Amy was still figuring out what she was going to read.
All right, so we're gonna mute everybody else, and we're gonna put Diana up here, and she's going to wow us. Are you reading a suspense?
I'm reading romantic suspense. Right?
Romantic suspense. I am very excited.
Thank you. So my series, like I said, is about a secret society of female vigilantes, and in all 3 of the books and in this prequel novella, they are trying to take down a sex slave ring that is operating internationally, but has certain bases. And the base that they're at right in this scene that I'm reading is in Mexico. So this character is undercover as a nun, which I love, creates all sorts of problems. But so I'll just start reading. Excuse me, Sister Angelica. I, stupendous. She not only looked like Marie in The Sound of Music, black habit, white tunic, suitcase at her feet. She was stumbling over an apology. I didn't mean to suggest these habits aren't. This was not like her. In the 10 or so years that Daws Parish had been going undercover as a vigilante operative, she'd taken on dozens of false identities. Wealthy Nigerian heiress, international model, security guard, translator, special envoy to the UN, to name a few. Leaving behind her real identity as Daws Parish and taking on another was as easy as putting on a coat, or had been. Her palm on her cane, Sister Angelica fanned her fingers. No apology necessary. If I took affront at every little thing, Sister D, I'd be a piss-poor servant of God. Besides, I agree, these habits do belong in a musical. Piss-poor. Determined not to laugh, Daws smiled at the abbess. The sister in charge of the abbey in Mexico was short, maybe 4'11", her blue eyes dusty beneath black rimmed glasses, with silver hair peeking from beneath her habit and skin as white and dry as talcum powder. If not for the matching outfits, this nun would be Daws, 6 feet tall with silky dark skin, polar opposite. Thank you, Sister Angelica. The abbess shook off the thanks. Stop the men your mother thinks are trafficking women through Mexico. That, more than the money she donated, will be thanks enough. Daws cringed, horrified she'd voiced the truth about her reconnaissance mission to stop a human trafficking ring, especially when rays of voices funneled around them from the corridor. 5 nuns of diverse backgrounds came from the hallway that led to a stone-lined courtyard heavy with green plants. They surrounded Daws, greeting her with a mixture of curiosity and eagerness and varying levels of Spanish. Hermana D, estás aquí? Sister D, you're here. Not a moment too soon. Serendipity. You should come with us. Yes, come, the final nun said with the directness of someone who has lived beyond 40. Round face, reddish tan skin, and a gap-toothed smile. The sister took Dada by the arm and spun her toward the door. If we don't hurry, we won't be ready for the lunch crowd. Lunch crowd? Dada asked, blinking at the noonday sun as she found herself back on the streets of Owaksu, a city tightly lined with colorful buildings that surrounded the ancient abbey. Sister Angelica closed the door with a, "I'll see your baggage to your room." Stupendous. Nuns, it turned out, could be a little bossy. 10 minutes after walking into the Benedictine Abbey, Dada stood behind the counter at a soup kitchen. Clouds of heat wafted up from the steel food well. Moisture slid from under her habit and along her face. Stifling hat. And she had short hair. What must it be like for the women with longer hair? Though sweaty, she offered smiles and greetings to the numerous refugees filing along in the cafeteria line. She had no problems communicating with the mostly Spanish speakers. Languages she could do. Now if she could just get this nun thing down. A man began to play on a worn guitar, and as the music drifted inside, people took up singing a familiar Mexican lullaby. She hummed along. With a sudden drop, the music stopped, and like a wave around a sports arena, tension rolled down the line of sisters. They paused serving the food, and their heads swung left. Dada scanned for what had caused the unease. Not what, who. 6 feet something, and that something was fine with a capital F. Wavy auburn hair, sexy trimmed beard, and summer brown eyes. The kind of toned body that a man couldn't hide, even under the long sleeve overshirt. Why long sleeves? Was he hiding a concealed carry? He walked with a slight limp, but in a way that almost looked like a swagger. Yum, no lie, he was glorious, and vaguely familiar. Her heart ratcheted up its pace. Each beat, like a cart ascending on a roller coaster, clicked higher and higher into her throat as this man, this gorgeous, swaggering man, made his way toward her. How did she know him? More importantly, did he know her? If so, would he recognize her? Maybe. She had on a nun outfit and brown contacts covering her distinct honey-colored eyes. Still. She brushed the shoulder of the sister next to her. Who is he? The sister's expression soured. Juan the Forger. Works for traffickers, men aligned with the cartel that own this area. He donates every week. She nodded toward the donation boxes dotting the room, and takes a tray for an older woman in town who can't leave her home. So he's a nice devil. Scooping rice for the next in line, she said, "What's worse, a man who does bad with no concept of right and wrong, or a man who does bad, allows bad because he benefits from it, and then to assuage his guilt, donates?" Dada knew the answer to that. In a flash, she was 9 again, held prisoner in a room while one man, a very rich French man, raped her. He brought her many gifts over her 4 years of captivity, taught her, spoke kindly to her, but that was to assuage his guilt, and none of it made up for the pain, humiliation, and fear he'd caused her. Dada slapped down her attraction to the man walking toward her, slapped it down and put it in chains. Chains as heavy as the loss symbolized by the woven leather bracelet she wore as a talisman. She grasped the familiar band. After accepting a scoop of yellow rice, the man stopped in front of Dada and his eyes widened. Her heart plunged. He did recognize her. He did. Heat spiked in her body, a knowing warmth and an unexpected and unwelcome thought. It's him. Him. Him who? Dada shook herself. Blink. Must blink. Not easy when those dare-me-to brown eyes framed in a bounty of lashes locked on her. Beside her, the sister said, "Do you want beans or are you filling your belly looking at Sister D?" His pale skin flushed. "Disculpe, hermana. Frijoles, por favor." "Excuse me, sister. Beans, please." His Spanish was good, but accented. A British accent. Welsh, specifically. That was it. That was how she knew him. The memory of a sleek young man driving down the pitch with a soccer ball surfaced. The surge of admiration and longing, her heart in her throat, her eyes glued to the screen. She knew him from her love of sport. Specifically, her favorite sport. He was a soccer player, an amazing one, or he had been. If she remembered correctly, he'd been injured right before signing a contract for the Premier League, which explained the limp. He worked for traffickers, and the ones she wanted information from since they owned this area. Lords and ladies, the mighty had fallen. A flare of excitement lit her chest. The luck that had followed her escape from French Guiana continued. Because of this staggering luck, she learned to accept and jump at opportunity, just as she learned to accept and find a way around complications, knowing something would eventually turn in her favor. Too good to be true didn't mean it wasn't true. Not for her. Not exactly a nun thing to do, but she could use what she knew of him, his past and his obvious guilt, to pressure him into being her asset. She'd get close to him, exploit his weakness, and ignore the way he made her feel. A minor complication, that. With her heart still in her throat, she scooped the beans into a small paper cup, then handed it to him. Their fingers brushed. A strong, certain flash of awareness shot up her arm and down her spine. Primitive heat thrummed through her, arousing every gasping nerve. Longing, need, surrender. They made eye contact, and she saw the same want reflected in his burning gaze. His mouth curled into a grin. Oh, this could be a big complication. Noticing, the sister beside her cleared her throat. With a jolt, he drew back the foil-lined cup. His face reddened, and he moved off with a, "Sorry, sister, sorry." No need to ask what he apologized for. It was obvious. One did not make lust eyes at a nun.
Oh my gosh, sounds so good. That's awesome.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, what level of sin is that if you're lusting after a nun? Because I don't know.
It can be simple, I'm telling you.
I just read priest not that long ago, so that's.
No, it's so much fun, to watch his kind of anxiety, and finally he's just like, "Oh, fine, I'll go to hell."
So is he? I know I'm probably going to ask. You don't have to answer. Is he really a bad guy?
No. I think you have a hero that's a bad guy. No, he's actually searching for. So after he was injured, he went to El Salvador and was teaching art, and one of his students was taken, and he's actually there trying to find this student who was taken by traffickers. So,
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that. I have to get this book. We did have a couple questions here from, was it Linda or Karen?
I saw that. Yeah, I was gonna. Karen is like just.
She's
I
on.
don't know. I think she's been saving her questions all like since our last broadcast. She wanted to ask both of you, Amy and Diana, how long are your breaks between books? And then, we'll ask that one first, and then we can go to the next one. But I guess how often do you publish? How long are your breaks between books?
God, I'm all over the board. I just write when I'm ready, I guess. I have never released a book and been writing another one at the same time. I've tried and I can't. I go all in on writing and then all in on releasing. And it's been, my last release was in May. I'm hoping my next one comes out in October. So I'll vary anywhere from like 3 months to 6 months. I try not to go longer than 6 months because that's.
And how long does it usually take you to write a book?
It depends. Like sometimes I wrote one in 13 days. That's the excerpt I'm going to read tonight. That was 13 days. Like that was madness, right?
That's crazy.
I wish I could write them all that fast.
Yeah.
But then some are 6 weeks, some are more, somewhere around 6 weeks. So I usually say.
And how long are they usually?
Usually like my Harris Brothers series are 90,000 or more. My 13-day book was 70,000.
Wow.
Gracious. How many words a day did you get?
Oh, it was nuts. One day I had 23,000. I don't even know what happened. I blacked out. It was the weirdest thing.
Oh my God.
I could write like that.
I think
that would be great.
I think you made a new record on our romance happy hour for most words a day.
Hey.
I don't know unless Diana wants to challenge it. Have you written more than 23,000 words in a day, Diana?
No, darn it. I have not.
So close.
All right, very close. Yep.
I think I'm gonna have to do a badge for you and put it up on Romance Happy Hour for a week or something.
I'll just put a tattoo on my forehead. Wear it forever.
You know how you'll be driving and then all of a sudden you're kind of like, oh, you are where you've arrived and you don't even really remember driving. I wish I could write like that.
Yeah.
Right?
Sounds like that's what you do.
And it's like, wow, I just wrote 23,000 words and I don't remember suffering through a single one. That would be nice.
Right? I feel you.
Did you eat that day?
Did I eat? Yeah, maybe. I was a lot of coffee. I was totally by myself. I was disgusting. Like I hadn't showered in days. It was real. I was real ripe. real right.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Well, good for you.
What about you, Diana? How often do you publish?
So my first book came out in May of last year, but I had the second one written already. And so I worked on the third. And so the second's coming out in September. The third's coming out in November. And I just put out it. Yeah. So since the putting out of the first one, I had one finished. I've written another one and a novella. So
Cool. That's great.
Well, and Amy, are you all indie?
Yeah, I'm all indie.
And Diana, you're trad.
I'm hybrid. Right?
Hybrid. Okay, that's right. Because you did say the other project that we're not talking about yet.
Yes, right, exactly. Right. The one I just read from was the novella I put out myself. So I probably should have read from my second book. But you know what? I actually got an preview audio chapter of my second book, and it was read by Emily Sutton Smith, and she did such a fantastic job that I was too intimidated to read my own stuff. I mean, she did an amazing job. So
I'm trying to convince my husband that he needs to do some audiobooks and make us some extra money on the side.
Yeah.
He was watching. I saw him chime in there. So I don't know if he's still watching, but you know, you can't keep mentioning that and not have him deliver. So
He needs to deliver. I agree. Do you hear me?
Because I think you've mentioned this now at least.
I have.
That we've been on our show.
And we have a quiet room. I just got to get him on board with, like, I got to get him motivated.
So I think Steve should be one of our guests next time, and he should read from your book.
I agree, but he won't. So, like, maybe I don't know. Maybe I'll figure out how to convince him to be a guest.
There you go. I'm sure you can figure out something, Dawn.
We'll figure it out.
Entice him to do your bidding. We'll come back to that.
He's on right now. He's kind of going back and forth. He's at a school in California right now. And so he's kind of on and off tonight. But yeah, see, babe? Everybody wants you to.
Is he commenting?
They're commenting, the readers.
Ah, gotcha. I have not scrolled past the question because I'm afraid I'm going to lose it. The other thing Karen wanted to know is how do you decide which book events to attend? And does your publisher pay for all of your expenses? So I'll let Amy answer that first. Does your publisher, Amy, pay for all of your expenses?
Yeah. Amy Daws LLC is very generous. Very generous.
Awesome.
She swipes that business card like she owns it herself. It's so weird. I pick the events I go to based. I mean, I have to be invited first for the most part, and then I pick the most popular ones, the most well attended, and I always like signings where there's authors that are way bigger than me. Like I don't want to go anywhere and be the headliner, I want to get the crowd that the headliner brings in, and like lure them into my lair. But usually a lot of the events I do are multi-author signing events. So there's tables set up of multiple authors and we all are there paying for a table fee. So yeah, you pay to be there basically, and then you can sell your books and whatever you make off your books is yours. So yeah.
Yes. Yes.
No, foreign's a little different. I've had foreign publishers offer to pay for expenses to come to signings. So that's kind of cool.
Nice.
Do you have foreign publishers?
Yeah, just different ones for different countries. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So my publisher does not pay for me to go to events. I kind of pick the events that look like they're going to have the biggest amount of readers and people I can engage with. It's always great to get out of your house and actually meet the people who are reading your books. So that, and also, if your friends are going to be there, that's a thing that really happens there too, So they don't pay for me to go to these things. They do pay, Source Books did a thing where they put my first book in the bags of every attendee, at RT, when it was RT. So things like that they do pay for, and little ads and things like that at the convention. So
cool.
Yeah, and usually free dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Were you at RWA?
Go ahead.
Were you at RWA?
Yes. Yeah. It was a great time. How about you?
I was. Yeah. Yeah. It was.
We miss each other.
Yeah.
We missed
That
out.
was crazy.
Dylan.
We were crazy that week. Yeah.
That was nuts. Yeah. It was crazy. I loved it.
I like when it's in New York. It's very easy for me to get there. So
Yeah, I bet. Yeah. And speaking of that, so spinning off of what you just said, one of the questions was, where are you guys located?
okay, so I'm in Pennsylvania, about 2 hours below New York City. I live in Bucks County on Lake Nakamixon.
Cool. I'm in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Actually, we just had a tornado this week. Well, 3 tornadoes touched down. So there's a lot of damage in our city, but it's no injuries reported, so that's good, or nothing major at least. So, but yeah, it's a great little town. We're having a book signing in November, and I'm real excited about that.
Fun.
Yeah.
From your globetrotting, that.
Yeah. What'd you say? Yeah. After I get back from my overseas adventures, yes.
So,
I'm in Minnesota, so we're practically neighbors, Amy.
Oh yeah, real close.
I feel like tornadoes are the snakes of the weather. They scare me.
And they
They're
both,
snakes. And they're unpredictable, and they just strike really fast.
they just like swirl down. Yeah.
I hate tornadoes and I hate snakes.
Yeah.
All right. Were there any other questions you saw, Dawn? I'm up at the beginning. Karen just made a comment. She said, "Amy, thank you for choosing Erin Shedlock for Payback." I know that she is a huge audio fan of audio.
Yeah.
That must have been one of your narrators.
As am I. Yeah. I spend a lot of time casting my audiobooks and promoting them and making them a big deal. I just think it's a really cool part of our industry that's still rapidly growing. And I want to grow with it, not be behind as it grows and watch it grow. I want to be like right there in the ramp, in the running. And Payback was a multicast, my first attempt at multicast. So there were 4 narrators cast for that. And so there's lots of different accents because I had my British characters from my series. The hero was South African and the heroine was American. So that was kind of fun. So
Linda did have one question, or Karen did. Pancakes or waffles?
I'm low carb, so I don't pick either. I eat eggs. Can I add that as an option?
Yeah, eggs. I have eggs and bacon every morning.
Yeah, right?
Pancakes, but they have to be gluten-free, so.
Oh, yeah.
Lame.
What about you, Dylan?
Pancakes or waffles?
I'm going to say waffles because she's from Texas.
Well, no, I was never like a fan of the chicken and waffles. That wasn't a Texas thing. I don't know. Pancakes are easier to make, and I like to put chocolate chips in them, so it's almost like eating dessert for breakfast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But see, what I was going off of was the fact that Texas always has Texas-shaped waffles. That seems to be like
they do.
Texas, so I knew that.
Texas has Texas-shaped everything because they're very proud of the shape of Texas. So Minnesota doesn't have Minnesota-shaped everything. I've noticed it's not really the same.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, and I'm probably gonna beat me up for seeing this, but one time I was listening to the radio, and they said, in 1991, Texas became its own nation. And since then, and then they went off and they were serious. So I'm wondering, why does Texas think it's its own nation? Can you tell me that? I think
how many glasses of wine have you had tonight, hon? I think there are a lot of people in Texas. If Tanya was here, she'd back me up. She's one of our viewers that tunes in quite often. She would back me up. There are a lot of people in Texas who think that Texas is its own country. It is not the case, as far as I know. I haven't lived there for, many years now, but I'm aware of them actually seceding from the Union.
I will say Texas readers are ravenous for romance. Like there are not, I think Texas of all the states that I've been to, there's always the most readers that turn up for events. And obviously you guys have more people because it's a bigger state, but I don't know. I feel like something with Texas and romance is working well.
It's because everything's bigger in Texas. They have the bigger hearts too.
Yeah, sure.
There's a lot of things that are big about Texas, but if you put Texas into Alaska, it's actually only like 1/4 of the size.
All right.
Science.
In both places.
There was another question. It was Karen's question. I feel like she's taking away, like running away with all the questions. She wanted to know what your favorite kind of cheese was.
Yeah.
Oh, was that for me? Was that?
I think for both of you.
Okay, I'm a big cheese lover. I make charcuterie boards all the time, and I post about them on my Instagram, like on the regular.
That must be why she's asking.
I'm sure it is. I seem to now be incorporating a big part of cheese in my current whip because I don't know. Ever since I went low carb, I kind of had to start coming up with different things to make for like when I go get together with friends and family. And so I started making these charcuterie boards. I can't even remember the first board I made, but I'm obsessed with them now. I make them every time we get together with people. And for me to pick a favorite cheese would be like picking a favorite book. It's not really possible, but I did have this real nice goat Gouda blend one time.
Ooh, that sounds good.
I can't find it again. Like it's devastating because I can't stop thinking about it and I don't know how to find it.
When did you go low carb?
When did I start low carb?
Yeah.
Like over a year ago, probably.
Wow, good for you.
Yeah. Lost some
You
OB.
add Wisconsin to your world travel tour.
Oh yeah, I've been there. I was just there. Yeah, I helped myself to some curds.
Not exactly low carb though, are they?
Cheese curds, they are if they're not fried.
Well, sure, but they're not as good without the breading.
Well, that's true, but they're still delicious.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Is that
How about you, Diana? Do you have a favorite cheese?
I don't
Karen's gonna come up with.
but I do like goat cheese. So
Oh, I do too. Dang it! See, there's my. I love goat cheese too. I don't know if maybe I take back my last answer. It's a hard choice.
That's funny?
There's a lot to love about cheese.
Indeed.
All right, let me see if there are any. Well, Karen was asking what's your word count per day and or week.
I'm a roller coaster. Obviously, I have high days and then low days. So
Like 20,000, 2,300 word day.
that was weird.
yeah.
23,000. I wrote my comma wrong on the paper where I'm noting it. So I can mention you.
Well, I'm the exact same. I have days that, are, not huge, like 23,000, but I have really high days and then days that aren't so great.
And Karen wants to know, Amy, if you're going to Love in Vegas.
No, I haven't. I'm not doing that. I clustered a lot of signings in August and September. Obviously, the big ones coming overseas. I was also in New York for a signing. I went Dallas, New York, and then I'm going to do London and Rome. And as soon as I get back, basically I'd have a few weeks off and I'd have to go to Vegas. And I was like, that's just too many. And I hate to get my signings all clustered. It makes me feel burnt out from travel.
Yeah.
If I keep them spread out, then I enjoy it still. Sorry.
Do you have any signings coming up, Diana?
I feel like I do, but I don't. I feel like I should, but no, I don't have any signings coming up. I just finished the convention tours and now I'm on a break. I'm doing everything from home and, blog posts and online. So if you want a book signed, send it to me.
Oh, Karen, are you going to be in Nashville for the Brenda Novak thing? That's why, sorry. She said she's not going to Love in Vegas. She's going to be in Nashville. I'm wondering if she's going to meet Brenda in Nashville. That's why. I don't know.
Yeah. I am going to Nashville too, though. But that's like 2020.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And is that it? Oh, I think
I caught up. I found I made it through all the questions, I think.
Yeah. Now the readers are just trying to convince, offering my husband tons of food in return for reading live. So
Coming on and reading live.
yeah, he's kind of given in a little bit, but I think it's because he's on a diet right now, and so he's probably really hungry. So maybe the more food they offer him, the more apt he will be to come on here and read. But Amy, would you like to read right now?
I'd love to. Could you see like the tortured like expression on my face? Like, yes. Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. I'm going to pop you up here and I'm going to mute everybody else. And
Oh, now I'm big and you can see that I haven't showered this week. Hi, I'm going to read an excerpt from Wait With Me. This is the book that I said I wrote in 13 days. So just to give you, I'm starting in chapter 11. So just to give you a little recap. This is about Kate Hudson. She is an erotic romance novelist who starts sneaking into a tire shop to write because she likes their customer waiting area and their free cookies and coffee. And this kind of happened to me. I was having really bad writer's block and I started sneaking into a tire shop to write. And so I wrote like basically a fun romance version where she gets busted by this hot mechanic. So there's lots of like plays on like she's a writer and she's kind of living a romance for her book. And so anyway, so yeah, this is chapter 11 from Kate's point of view. Miraculously, my black moment with Miles matched up seamlessly with the black moment in the book I've nearly finished writing. Just a couple more pages of depression, cue grand gesture, and bam, happily ever after. If only I could freaking write from home. Why are you here? Lindsay asks, opening my front door without a knock to find me sitting cross-legged in my living room with my laptop open on my pretentious barnwood coffee table. Her face falls. Oh my God, what is that horrible smell? She opens my front door wide and waves the stench outside as my face heats with humiliation. It's nothing. I blow out the candle next to my computer and pop the lid on the tin to quickly stash the source of my embarrassment under the coffee table. It's not nothing. It smells like burnt rubber. Her eyes go wide with realization. Is that a freaking tire-scented candle? She leaves the door open and dives on top of me, flattening me to the floor as we both grapple for the tin. Stop it. You're going to make me spill the wax on the floor. Then let go so I can see what you're hiding. She squeals and claws her way up my arm, trying to reach my tightly gripped hand under the coffee table. No, you're just going to make fun of me. You're dang right I am. She redirects her hands to my sides where she starts tickling me mercilessly. Stop, I howl and start laughing and screaming in unison as she assaults my tender sides and squirms on top of me. The ruthless witch is going to leave bruises. What the hell? A masculine voice stops us both mid-motion. Lindsay's face is only inches from mine, her hair falling around both of us, providing a curtain of privacy. I cautiously push Lindsay's hair back to see Dean standing in my open doorway gawking at us. Oh, thank God, I exhale. It's just Dean. Yeah, it's just Dean, he repeats and gestures with his hands for us to continue. Please don't stop on my account. Lindsay and I both roll our eyes as she hauls herself off my body, but not before she makes one more attempt for the tin. Aha, I got it, she exclaims, but her face crumples in disbelief as she takes in the label on the tin. Burnt rubber scented soy candle? I can't believe this is a thing. She hands it over to Dean and he winces as he takes a sniff. How much was that? Lindsay asks, crossing her arms and tapping her foot like she's preparing to scold me. Only $8.50 on Etsy, I scoff and mumble. I paid extra for expedited shipping. Dean booms with laughter. Jesus H, you've got it bad, Kate. I know, I cry and stand up, staring at my manuscript still lit up in front of me. I can't write a damn word, and all I want to do is go back to Tire Depot. Then go back, Lindsay exclaims. So you kissed the mechanic and he turned you down. Big deal. Your ex still technically lives in this house and you refuse to move out, knowing full well he can come back any day. But one little kiss with a sexy mechanic and suddenly you're a recluse again? I don't think so. She has a point, Kate, Dean adds, completely unhelpful. It'll be awkward for a day, 3 days tops. It's not like you have to gaze into his eyes from the waiting room. He'll probably stay in the garage and avoid you too. I groan and drop down onto my couch, scrubbing my hands over my face. You're right. My house smells like crap now too, doesn't it? They both nod down at me. Lindsay adds, you're going to have to get someone in here to clean it. or throw a raging party when you finish this book, and we'll trash it so badly that the smell of booze and puke will overwhelm the burnt rubber. Lindsay and I eye him with disgust. He shrugs. Just an idea. Fine, I'll go back, I decide at last, but only because burnt rubber is not the same as new rubber, and I couldn't find a new rubber candle anywhere online. I wasted an embarrassing amount of time. Was that long enough?
Yeah, you're good. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Get us up here.
I was like, I could read the next section, but I think we're good, right?
Yeah, we got plenty of time to talk. I was typing to Karen, who sounds like she is about to go stalking some romance authors. Jill, tell us. Karen. I love her.
What's the name of that book again, Amy? Can you tell us again?
Yeah. It's called Wait With Me. And this book is like a unique background because so I was having writer's block when I was writing one of my Harris Brothers books. And I was trying to change up my process. And I went in for a new set of tires at this place called Tires. And it was like, I wrote 5,000 words in like 2 hours. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can finally write again. I got to keep going back. So like they have this side entrance that you can get into without passing all the guys at the counter that like take your car for you. So I snuck in once, and then I started bringing in people's cars for oil changes. This is a true story. You can't make this up. And I was posting about it on social media, and it kind of blew up. Like, I don't know if you guys know Jana Aston. She's a really fun rom-com writer, but she had pizza delivered to me in the waiting room once, which was really embarrassing. And like my social media stuff just kept getting more viral. And then all of a sudden, like BuzzFeed contacted me and asked me if they could interview me about what I was doing there. And so I had this BuzzFeed article, and then my foreign rights agent was like, Amy, like everybody's dying about you going to this tire shop to write. Why aren't you writing a book about a romance author who sneaks into a tire shop? And I'm like, I don't know, because I'm finishing like my Harris Brother book. And like, I have to do the next part because it's like a duet. And I was like, maybe if I sit down and try to write it, it'll flow easily. And that it did, like 13 days. I think because Kate's voice is very much like my own, and a lot of the humor from my real life was used as content in there. None of the hot stuff happened to me though. Like I didn't have a hot mechanic bust me sneaking in and you know, all that. But yeah, it's spurred a whole new series, and it was really fun. And we even shot the cover in Tires, because the people at Tires found out, and they thought it was hilarious, and they like welcomed me with open arms. And, sorry, I'm rambling a lot.
So do you get like free rotations for life now?
Yeah.
They do a free rotation with an oil change. So, you know, that I don't think I'm getting any perks there necessarily, but I can come in and write whenever I want. Like they think it's awesome, and they like told me to come in even without a service. So I feel like the belle of the ball.
That's definitely the weirdest muse I've ever heard of.
Right? I know. That's why it's
no judgment, Diana. No judgment.
No judgment. No judgment.
I even had a reader send me the Scentsy burnt rubber.
Oh, that's funny.
I did not know that was. Does it really smell like burnt rubber?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It smells terrible. I like that right in there for no reason.
Oh my gosh! Now I'm gonna have to buy that.
Yeah.
That's really funny. I have actually written many times while I've had my car in for service, and I'm always, you know, I mean, there aren't always a lot of people in places like that, and so it's pretty obvious if you go back day after day after day.
Oh yeah, well, it was a big waiting room, and I don't know, they didn't, you know, but then I started bringing people's cars in, so I was there as a customer, but I'd stay for like 6 hours. They'd be done with the service in like 40 minutes, and I'd be there like all day, just surviving on the complimentary cookies and coffee.
Once they caught you, did they let you have the cookies and coffee?
Oh yeah, I mean, once they caught me, they actually messaged my author page, and they're like, "Hey, we just caught wind of like a fake invoice somebody sent you," and that was my friends playing a prank on me. It was like excess consumption of complimentary beverages. That's in the book too, because it was just too funny not to put in there.
Funny.
And they're like, "We just want you to know that invoice is not from us. You're welcome anytime. We think this is funny," and like it totally blew up because I had like TV stations trying to interview me from like Arizona and Chicago, and like I did a live call-in with this Phoenix morning show, like just to talk about what a ridiculous joke I was, basically. But
That's awesome.
yeah, it's really fun. And I read that book because all my other books were British, and I would feel like I have to try to do the accent, and it would just be real bad, bad.
But humorous. Let's try it.
Oh,
All right, Rob.
don't get me wrong, I love to try it. It just,
Oh my God, it's so good.
no, I'm quite crap at it, really. I mean, it's dodgy at best, it's better if I just full stop, don't do it anymore.
You're awesome. You freaking rock.
Yeah.
All right, so you're going to go to Rome too, right? So can you do an Italian accent?
Oh God, I don't even know what they sound like, really. I mean, I'd be like pasta and pizza, I'm sure they would be offended if I tried. Like,
Not if you bring your burnt rubber Scentsy with you. I think that's a free pass to, whatever you need.
Yeah, that's right. It's gold. It's gold in all countries.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. Good times, right?
So for both of you, I was going to ask, and just anyone that's watching, if you have questions for either Amy or Diana, go ahead and toss them in the comments. But I was just going to ask, for both of you, it sounds like, with having your books set in London or in England with, the football players and stuff. And for Diana, a lot of your books with all the, the dark nastiness and all that. What kind of research do you have to do?
Yeah.
A lot.
Make it all up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, my books do really kind of cover a lot of women's issues and, kind of based in reality that way. So I end up having a lot of communications with organizations. So my first book is set along the Syria-Jordan border, and it talks about women from Syria who are being trafficked in these Yazidi population. And so I had communications with, Yazda.org and, the people who run that organization. So as I've gone on, I kind of started adopting all these different organizations that help women, and then I'm promoting them, and that's what I do on my blog. I do a lot of blog posts and newsletters and things, bringing awareness to these situations around the world, but not just that, the women who are down there really making things better for everyone. And there are some amazing women in this world. So the cool thing about my research is it has led to, people who I would never have known, otherwise.
Nice.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Sarah wants to know, I think you said this earlier, but she may have missed it. What year did you publish your first book?
Last year.
Last year.
Yeah.
I don't research that much. I feel so bad because with Diana, you just sounded so intelligent, and I'm like this lazy author that I don't know. I research as I go. Like I write and the fact that it's fiction is nice because if I want to write a location that doesn't exist, I can just make it up. And I don't have a lot of historical or factual things that really play a part in what I write because I'm writing lighter, like romantic comedies. So really it's about the relationships and the characters and, everything that happens on them. Like football, like soccer, I do have to research some, but I try to just avoid that stuff because I'm writing a love story, not a sports story.
Are you a sports fan though, or?
Am I what?
Are you a sports fan? No.
Not particularly. I love the idea of sports. I love the food and the fellowship aspect of it. Yeah. I like to get together with a group of people and make a dip and, have some beers. Mm-hmm. Is there a team that I'm screaming at the TV? No, but I could get into a game. I wrote my London Lover series and I gave one of the heroines, which was more contemporary romance. And I gave one of the heroines 4 brothers that all play professional soccer because I thought, oh, that sounds fun to have these overprotective big brothers that are going to interfere in her romantic life. And then like I publish it and everybody's like, when are the brothers coming? I'm like, oh my God, I don't know anything about soccer. You know, like nothing. My kid plays, he's 7. Like that's the most exposure I've ever had to soccer. So I do have to research, but usually I wait till I get right to the scene that I don't know about. And then I go Google, you know, like I know what I should write and I prepare Google.
Yeah, that's good, because otherwise, if you're doing all that research, then it really does bog you down from so
I've heard a lot of people like talk about research, and like if they just absorb themselves into it for too long, then you're totally just losing focus on your storyline. And really you just have to get through a few sentences, you know?
Yeah.
Like I just look at it in a much smaller scale.
Yeah, Dylan and I were kind of talking about this earlier because, like, I write Coast Guard romance, and I'm Coast Guard vet and spouse, and so when I'm writing it or reading it with other writers, I just get really kind of focused on the minor details and kind of so.
Now, thanks to Dawn, I know what a coxswain is. It's like people don't need to know that it's a coxswain. They just need to know he's a guy on a boat, Dawn.
Yeah.
He's very detail oriented though, and she writes books.
Yeah.
I know
Kind of yeah.
I know, it's kind of funny.
Well, you don't need to really do research, right? Your husband's right there, so you can just ask him.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and I do. He's well, he left today, but yeah, he's he left our chat.
The dedication for my book challenge, the first book of my Harris Brothers sports romance, is dedicated to my husband. I picked the one sport you don't watch to write a series around, and then I wrote "Thanks for nothing."
That's awesome.
I'm pretty tickled by that still, and that's an old book. But I don't know, it's just funny because I had no help. I just had Google, and a couple people helped me that actually follow soccer and have know about rivalries and stuff like that. So,
Yeah,
what people did before Google, like how did authors research before the internet?
Oh God, I don't know.
I mean, you have to look stuff up on microfiche.
Yeah, right.
This is very intense.
Talk about
had really big libraries of the encyclopedias. Like they all had encyclopedia libraries. I would assume that's what I would do if I was a writer back then.
Yep.
Leather-bound books behind you. Yeah.
I don't think Dawn was even born then. I remember microfiche. I don't think you probably even remember microfiche, Dawn.
I don't know what that is.
That's probably though why Wait With Me came so fast, because I was literally writing what I know. When you write what you know, it really does come easy, but you can't write what you know forever, or all your books and characters sound the same. So, I know like one little habit about myself is I tend to gravitate towards creative professions for all of my heroines, and I can't seem to get away from that. I'm like, I need to although a couple of them are doctors, so that's obviously not necessarily creative, but
I kind of almost feel, other than writing, I feel like the creative professions for heroines is kind of rare. I mean, you always have a writer always puts writing, something writing in their books. And that's what I've noticed anyways. Like Dylann here, this way, she's this way. Dylann, she wrote in Betting on the Bad Boy. She's a writer, right?
Yeah. Oh, it's so fun to write a writer. I had the best time writing that. I was like, God, this is so easy.
Yeah, she's a writer. But what other kind of artsy heroines do you guys have? Or do you have?
I have a stylist, a designer, fashion designer, graphic designer. I don't know, Diana, what do you got? You got a nun?
Yeah. She's undercover as a nun. I don't want to.
Oh, I was wondering that.
I cut you off. Yeah, she's undercover
on the side.
Huh?
She's a fashion designer on the side, right?
She's a vigilante.
Diana's heroines are badass.
Yeah,
my character is sound
She's on another level.
level. So Dawn, they're like, they need you, the person who's going to sell them weapons. So
Send it my way. So what are they? So you got the vigilante, and then what else?
So my series sorry, there's something buzzing around me. My series is about a secret society of vigilantes, and they're all children that were adopted by this one woman and all raised to be vigilantes. So they're basically just vigilantes. But in the next series that I'm doing, Bad Legacy, the woman I'm writing about is public relations specialist. So yeah, now I've got to learn about that because I have really no clue.
Yeah. Nice.
Well, and there was another question, although I think it was from Linda, and I'm not sure what she meant, so maybe she can clarify. Linda was asking, Diana, have you done face-to-face interviews? And I think she might mean like people that when we were talking about research and talking with the different organizations and such.
I've done Skype interviews and yeah, right. I've never gone and met these people, but yeah.
I've connected with a lot of people too, and done email and chats and stuff like that. I had one of my books has a suicide survivor in it, and so I reached out to this this person on Twitter who was in some kind of suicide advocacy, like suicide prevention advocacy program, and I'm like, hey, would you be willing to answer some questions? And she was super open and super engaging, and now she's actually my book editor. So she had experience editing dissertations, and so she said she'd always, I don't know, it was just a friendship that grew and grew and grew. She kind of started just reading my stuff for that character, and then it blossomed. So yeah, I mean, I know like it's easy to find people online, and people, typically what I find is people are open and willing to share about their experiences, especially if it's going to make a story richer.
Right. Yeah, I agree. People are really, it's kind of surprising because you would think people would be more closed down, but they're not. They want to tell their stories, and they're happy when someone acknowledges, what they've been through. So
yeah, definitely.
So coming off that, what are you guys experts at so we can use you in the future? Besides players.
Oh God, I don't know if I'm expert at anything. Writing, and I have 7 kids, so maybe I'm expert at mom.
I only have 4, but I'm done though.
Yeah, well, I'm done too.
Never quiet.
Yeah. Mine is kind of a downer, but it doesn't have to be. But so what got my start in writing was my first book's a memoir called Chasing Hope. And it's because I had 6 pregnancy losses before I had my daughter, Lorelai. I know it's funny, you guys have so many kids, and but I have lots of experience with infertility, pregnancy loss, pregnancy, anything. So whenever I write any of that stuff in a book, it's so easy for me. And one of my heroines is a fetal neonatal specialist, so that kind of stuff is a little bit easier for me because I was so entrenched in that life for so many years while I was having miscarriages. But all of it is good because I started with that book, and now I have 15 books in romance, and I'm traveling the world, and I'm meeting readers, and I work from home, and I have a daughter who's 7, and I'm here for her all the time. And so,
that's a great name too.
Yeah. Her middle name is Hope. So, yeah, Chasing Hope is her first name's Lorelai because I'm a huge Gilmore Girls fan.
Yeah.
So yeah, but that's what I'm an expert in.
I had 1 miscarriage, but I know. Oh, I can't imagine 6 though.
Yeah.
Mine though was the fault of the government. I would say everything's government's fault. No, they ordered me. I was in the military. They ordered me to get the smallpox vaccination when I was pregnant.
Oh.
I couldn't prove that I was pregnant. So instead of letting me wait, they made me get it. So I'm actually a CDC statistic. And but that was my only miscarriage. I can't imagine 6 though, because that was devastating enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel for you. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I always say the bad got me to the good, so it's
Yeah.
totally fine.
And
That's
Diana, 7 kids. That's amazing.
Holy cow.
How do you have time to write?
No kidding.
Well, my kids are all older now, but yeah. I got a 7-year-old running around, but yeah.
Linda says you look fabulous for having 7 kids. I love comments like that because it's like people just think that kid after kid just slowly takes away from your beauty. Like that's the expectation. They're like, dang, you look good for 7 kids. And you're like, what am I supposed to look like?
Yeah.
What does childbirth do to you? Like, really?
Well, I have 3 kids and I look like crap. I know like the life force out of you, and I don't have any brain cells left.
All right,
I
Dylan, she needs to stop because
can't remember what I had for breakfast. Oh, I didn't eat breakfast today because I have kids.
Well, that's why you can't remember. So.
she looks fabulous. I'm just
Yeah.
Dylan looks fabulous. She always looks fabulous. So I'm gonna call the liars button here for that.
I want to know what you're an expert at, Dawn. I'm kind of afraid to ask, but tell us what you're an expert at.
My name tag says that I'm an expert on firearms.
Oh, nice.
Talking about firearms. I feel like we've alienated probably like 85% of our audience by talking about firearms tonight.
No, it's fun. No, I'm just working a gun counter at our local base exchange. So I have to get an ATF, a license, gun dealer's license, so that I can sell them.
And after they watch this, I don't think you're going to qualify.
Might have a problem.
No, I was a gunner's mate in the Coast Guard, so my background is why I got hired on it. But
so that's what you're an expert on?
What's that?
That's what you're an expert on?
I guess I'm an expert at the Coast Guard.
Well, so if we have questions about weapons for our books, we can reach out to you.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah.
Cool.
I gotta start researching more and more. But
I'm just gonna say there's not a lot of weapons in rom-com, so don't expect any calls. Be safe.
Yeah, and then the Coast Guard, I'm doing like Coast Guard classes for writers, so that we can actually portray the Coast Guard in their books, because I get like really panicky when I read most Coast Guard books out there, and they're so off base that it makes me angry. So I'm doing classes on that. I'm not an expert though, but
are you doing that online? You doing online classes, or?
I'm doing I offered it through RWA right now and some indie places, but I didn't. But I have a class starting on the 15th of this month, so I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah, I get to tell my stories, and yeah. Oh, see, Karen's right. I'm an expert at drinking wine.
Well, I don't know. I think you need to up your game on drinking wine. You only have one glass, and we get into trouble. So,
well, this one's really nasty. So I've been sipping. So you're, because I mean it's too hard for me and too bitter.
Charcuterie goes excellently with wine. So
I was going to say, I think you might be an expert at cheese too, Amy.
Yeah. What is
if we have cheese questions, we can come to you.
Sure.
Can I ask you though, have you ever heard of squeaky cheese?
Yeah, well, like cheese curds, you're supposed to let them get to room temperature before you eat them, so you get the squeak on your teeth.
Wow.
Squeaky cheese. My dad would always take us to get squeaky cheese whenever we were driving, I don't know, through somewhere. We'd always stop and get squeaky cheese, and it was like the highlight of our year.
Was it cheese curds, like round?
I'm sure it was.
Yeah.
We just called them squeaky cheese because that's what we wanted. So
yeah, if they squeak, you know they're good.
Yeah. So, and then my husband, when we first got married, and when he sees this later, he's gonna be like, "I believed you." But when we first got married, he didn't think squeaky cheese was a thing until my dad tried squeaky cheese. But yeah, that's my favorite cheese, the squeaky cheese.
Yeah, I like it all.
Well, we are 5 minutes past the time.
Oh my, how time flies when we talk about weapons and shoes.
Weapons and cheese. We pair well with wine.
Yeah.
All right, so not next week, but 2 weeks from now, we will have Adriana Locke and Megan Ryder. And Dylan, do you have anything to add?
I would just say that we have our giveaway post up in the group. So if you haven't entered for that, I know both Amy and Diana have some goodies up for grabs. So be sure to check that out. So that's all I've got.
All right.
And I'm not an expert at anything, so.
I'm sure you are. You're an expert at looking gorgeous.
No, you know what? I'm an expert at crazy pets.
Crazy.
I have a Great Dane on Prozac, and we started trying to give her CBD oil peanut butter, and it's not helping. She is still psychotic. So if you need any crazy pet stories, I'm your gal.
Cool.
I need help with my crazy pet. I have a Yorkie that's crazy. So.
See, my dog, my Great Dane, would be terrified of your Yorkie.
My Mastiff is terrified of anything smaller than her too. Like the French Bulldogs next door. She tries to run inside every time. She won't pee when they're out there.
Oh wow.
So yeah, I think it's a big dog thing. They're scared of little dogs.
Yeah. Well, little dogs have big attitudes, and so.
Yeah.
No, my dog does not have a big attitude. I told her once to roll over for a puppy. It was horrifying. So.
Oh. All right, we're going to say goodbye here. So
yes, thank you so much for joining us. This was a lot of fun tonight.
Yes. It was so much fun. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for having me too.
Bye.
All right. Bye. See you next time.